The Untold Truth of Sasha Banks. Please subscribe to our channel. Mercedes Sasha Banks Kaestner-Varnado hustled her way into the world of wrestling by making a name for herself on the independent circuit. She eventually finessed her way into the World Wrestling Federation WWE and transformed into a superstar headlining her own pay-per-view main event. She has broken barriers as one of the most thrilling performers to take the ring, striving to become a 5-time champion as of this writing, and we are not the only ones who are mesmerized by her on-stage presence. She's attracted legions of adoring fans, thanks to her electric purple hair, her blinged-out costumes, and her high-flying finishing moves, such as the bankrupt, the bank statement, and the frog splash, an homage to her wrestling idol, the late Eddie Guerrero. By now, most of her fans know the basics about her, including the fact that rapper Snoop Dogg is her cousin, but there's much more to learn. From her secretive love life to how she turned her wrestling aspirations into her dream job, this is the untold truth of Sasha Banks. During a candid interview on the Making Their Way to the Ring podcast, Banks claimed her father was abusive toward her mother, recalling always being scared of him growing up. By the time she turned 2, he had allegedly left their family in the dust to start a new life in Oregon. Banks, her mother, and her autistic brother traveled across the United States in search of a better life. By the time she was 11 or 12 years old, her mom broke the news that they would be relocating from Iowa to Oregon to be closer to her father and try to get some support from him. "I was like, help us, he never helped us before," Banks recalled. "My father is Snoop Dogg's uncle. He has money, a restaurant, a record label, and he does music on the side. He's never paid any child support. I was so miserable and I was so depressed." In Oregon, she said. It apparently did not take long for her mom to realize that old habits die hard. "Finally my mom's like, he's not helping us, so we packed our stuff, we left," Banks said. A life-altering decision at the age of 13. The family of 3 left Oregon and proceeded to bounce around in search of a school suitable for her autistic brother. Banks told the Making Their Way to the Ring podcast that her brother had experienced abuse in some of his previous educational settings, but upon arriving in Minnesota, things did not get much better for their family. Her mother was unemployed. They lived in a hotel room for years, and Banks said she was relentlessly teased at school about her appearance. To make matter worse, her brother's behavior worsened due to the alleged abuse he was suffering. When her mom finally landed a job, Banks made a bold decision at the age of 13 to quit school and take online courses so she could become her brother's full-time caregiver. "I do not know what a childhood is," she said. "I never had my teenage years. I never went to prom. I never really had a boyfriend. I knew nothing." Because she was willing to make such a huge sacrifice, Banks asked her mom for one thing in return: "I will do anything for this family," she said. "Just give me wrestling." Perseverance paid off. Banks began pursuing a wrestling career when she was just a kid. She told Bet that she emailed so many wrestling schools, begging for a chance. She finally got her break at age 17, when she was invited to attend the New England Pro Wrestling Academy in Boston. When her mom landed a job in the same city, it was the perfect opportunity for their family to make yet another move. "I was 17 about to turn 18. I told my mom, I'm 18 now, I just signed these papers by myself and I'm going to do this," she said. "I was the only girl in that little tryout fantasy camp." Working in a male-dominated field takes a lot of guts, and Banks was definitely up for the challenge. "At the time, I had no money, no nothing at all," she said. Banks never stopped pursuing the WWE. "I emailed them legit every single week, asking for work," she said. "One day I finally got the call and they said they were going to send me down to FCW training division for a tryout." Hard work, determination, and nagging emails paid off. The makings of the boss. Some of the best wrestlers made a name for themselves with their catchy ring names or slogans, and Banks wanted to add a memorable nickname to her moniker, too. She found inspiration in popular hip-hop artists, since her wrestling persona is centered around bragging, boasting, and showing off massive amounts of confidence. Banks told the Orlando Sentinel, "I was looking at people like Snoop, Kanye West and Nicki Minaj, then somehow the idea I'm the boss's clicked with me." She told Bet that being around her cousin, Snoop Dogg, convinced her to run with her powerful calling card. She noticed all his security guards and his friends call him boss, and decided she deserved the same respect. She began calling herself the boss, and everyone else soon followed suit. I told myself, once I get my opportunity, I want to show people why I'm here to be the best women's wrestler of all time, and that's why I made my name, she told Bet. She hid her marriage from crazy fans. Sasha Banks is very open when it comes to talking about the struggles she faced during her childhood, but one topic that she has not been forthcoming about is her marriage to former wrestler and WWE costume designer Sarah "Kid" Mikaze Tun. It was not until a March 2017 interview with Making Their Way to the Ring that she finally let the cat out of the bag. "You are the first one I have admitted it to. I am married," she told the show's host, Lillian Garcia. "I just hide it because our fans are so crazy sometimes." By crazy, she's referring to some online fans aka trolls attempting to contact her guy via Twitter. "If you are saying he's ugly or he should not be with me because of this or that. That hurts me," Banks said. "I do not like that he reads that every day and he's such an amazing person." The Four Horsewomen member does not take kindly to followers dissing her true love. "I remember when we got married and a picture was leaked, it was trending, and fans were like, what the? Why, but did those guys really think they could marry me? Come on, touche. We'll work for food." Banks was not always making the big bucks for her show-stopping performances in the ring. There was once a time when she was forced to take whatever scraps she was offered. During an interview with First We Feast's Hot Ones, Banks answered a series of questions about her life and career, and she had a thing or two to say about scummy promoters. When asked what she does not miss the most about the independent wrestling circuit, she answered, "I do not miss getting paid $25 or getting paid by just getting a slice of pizza," she said. "It was legit. Either you get pizza or a hot dog, or you get $25. That was it. Those days are now in her rear-view mirror." As of 2018, this boss was no longer trading pizza for suplexes, reportedly raked in a salary of $225,000 a year. Cha-ching. Taking a beating gives her life. Like most kids, Banks initially assumed she'd grow up and have a typical job. You know, like a doctor or a firefighter. But all that changed at the age of 10 when she was channel surfing and came across a wrestling show on the tube. "There was something about it that made me instantly hooked," she told the NZ Herald. Of course, those closest to her were not pleased with her newfound career goal, especially her mother. She said, "What did I do wrong?" Banks recalled. Her grandmother was even less supportive. "You want to get beat up for a living?" We are sure glad Banks did not let anything stand in her way. In 2016, she and rival Charlotte Flair became the first women to compete in a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view match, and in 2015, Banks became the first woman to win the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Feud of the Year when she bested Bayley. Not bad. Not bad at all. There is something about taking a beating and giving someone a beating that is so much fun, Banks said. It's acting, being an athlete, being a superstar. How's that for a triple threat? It's all fun and games until the dessert cart rolls around. To be a professional wrestler means being on point at all times. Not only do wrestlers need to build up their stamina and endurance so they do not conk out in the middle of a match, but they also have to make sure their bodies look flawless when they are pile-driving their opponents. To keep a toned physique, Banks told Muscle and Fitness that she does 90-minute gym sessions, which consist of a mixture of cardio and strength training. It's hard to get to the gym when we are on the road so much, she said. But it's so important that I make the time to keep up with it. Hitting the gym hard is only half the battle. What she consumes also plays a huge role in helping maintain her washboard abs. During an episode of First We Feast's Hot Ones, Banks described the type of food that's generally served backstage at the WWE. There is a little salad bar and we have our plain chicken, and that's what I pretty much have every week on Monday Night Raw, she said. I just stare at the dessert and just hope one day that I can have a bite. It gets real in the ring, but wine fixes everything. Some people like to dismiss wrestling as nothing more than a fake sport with a bunch of beefed-up, cheesy actors. Sure, there's a bit of drama that goes on in the ring to bring the storylines to life, but surprises do occur, and that's when things get really real. Banks' 2016 Iron Man match-up against competitor Charlotte Flair reportedly lasted a grueling 45 minutes. Not only was Banks struggling to push through it, but she ended up with a gnarly injury to boot. Viewers were shocked to see blood gushing out of Banks' nose after the back of Flair's leg collided with the boss's face. I was just like dead because she broke my nose during it. I was just bleeding. I'm like, oh my god, can this be over? Banks revealed on First We Feast's Hot Ones. Thankfully, she has the perfect cure for all ring-related ailments. Lots of wine, she told the show. I love drinking wine after a match. It makes me really calm and relaxed, bottoms up.